YouTube Live, coming from the Equal Universe. We're here with Regi Wilson. Regi, how you doing today?
I'm good. Thank you for asking. How are you doing?
Doing well.
Great.
So we're here to talk about equal and the equal universe. Can you talk to us about what that is?
Absolutely. Equal is a counter narrative. Equal is a destination. Um, at our deepest human core, the one thing that connects every human being on the face of the planet is that we all desire to be viewed, valued, and treated as equal. The destination of every inclusion initiative is to move us to a place to where we are all having a day-to-day lived equal value experience. The other reason that equal resonated in my heart and in my spirit is it alone as a word embodies and speaks to all of the objectives: gender inclusion, LGBTQ plus rights, Black Lives Matter. Um, Whatever it is that you are striving to achieve in terms of a better existence, a better experience, a better human experience, equal speaks to that. Not only that, but unlike many of the initiatives that we hear, they are all different names, and there's a myriad of them. But what is unlike them in comparison to equal is that equal is one word, but it is also like a smile. It is the one word that everyone around the world recognizes when they experience it. It embodies a feeling that everyone can identify with and that everyone can agree on. So I see it as a way, as a point of entry, as a point of intersection and connection, that we can all agree to. Because whether you agree with Black Lives Matter or not, whether you agree with gender equality or not, whether you agree with LGBTQ plus rights or not, the one thing that we all agree on, I believe, if I were to ask you this question, do you desire to be viewed and valued and treated as equal? I believe your answer would be yes. So if equal is where we all agree upon, if that is the one point that we can all, if that is the one question that we can all say yes to, then let's start there. And then let's build out and figure out whatever it is that we need to figure out so that we can coexist and cooperate and survive and thrive together. Because together is the only path forward.
So then, when we ultimately begin to see ourselves as equal, then no matter what we are, no matter how we identify, we can recognize that beneath that identification, there is a deeper value of equal, and recognizing that we all are that.
Absolutely.
Then we can begin to come together rather than to be separated because I am different from you, because I identify different from you. Beneath that, there's something greater. It is that we are all equal.
Absolutely. The other part too that I want to point to is that our differences are great. Can you imagine if you looked outside and everything was just one color? Can you imagine if everything was just one size, one shape? How that would drive me crazy. It's the differences that make us better. It's me being who I am and you being who you are that pushes me in a way and to a place and to learn something that I never would have learned, to a place that I never would have gone had you not been who you are, and vice versa. Who I am can be a blessing to you, can be a lesson to you, can open up a door, a pathway, an area, an enlightenment to you that you never would have seen had I not been present. So our benefits are inherent. Our differences are blessings. They're not things that we should be divided over. They're gifts that we should be opening up to see what's inside of them, to explore, to see how these differences can bless and benefit us. The other part that I'd like to share is that Donnie mentioned value. Value is the pathway to achieving an equal outcome. Value recognition and value assignment. Again, what we've had reinforced to us is you're not valuable, because the narrative of equal is you are valuable, plus here's the reason why. You are valuable because, and here's the reason why. So this is not a motivational speech. This is not a pep rally. This is about connecting you to the inherent story that nature tells us about who we are, that nature tells you about who you are. Not the story that the social construct have told you about who you are. Not the stories that Hollywood have told us about who we are, but the story that nature itself tells us about who we are. And that is a different story. That is a story of value, inherent value, a value that you don't have to earn, a value that you don't have to achieve, a value that you don't have to apply for, a value that no one person or group of people have to approve in order for you to have it. This is a value that was in the very idea of who you are. Before you even came to be, nature's idea of who you are had value already designed in it. So my point is that your value is not a variable. Your value is a constant. You have always been valuable. You are valuable. You will always be valuable. My job, my only objective, is to introduce you to the value that you are, and to move you to a place of understanding that, to where you begin to assign that value to yourself. And once you begin to fill up with value and joy as a result of understanding your value, then when you get to me and when you get to others in society, you will inherently, naturally pour that value out onto those interactions and onto those engagements.
So then what I hear you saying is that your value is not something that you have to look somewhere else to get.
Absolutely.
That you are valuable right now.
Yes.
You don't have to wait to get your value.
No.
You don't have to wait till you get your paycheck. You don't have to wait until you achieve that thing in order to be valuable, you are valuable now.
Absolutely.
And that maybe some of the reasons why we think we're not valuable is because a narrative that has been out there, perhaps throughout our lives,
Absolutely.
that has been telling us that we're not valuable.
Absolutely.
Can you talk a little bit about that narrative?
Absolutely. Again, I can remember, and I'm sure that you can too, from as early as childhood. I grew up in the 60s, and, I'm sure that many of you remember the civil rights movement. And that was all about a people, Black people, African American people, trying to acquire rights, human rights, inherent rights, to drink from the same water fountain, equal, to vote, equal, to be present in a certain part of town, equal. Again, but the reason why there was resistance is because, like I said, racism and hate are symptoms. They're not the sickness. The reason why there was resistance to Black people and African American people acquiring their human rights is because they were not valued by others. That is the key. That is the core. That is the reason. That is the seed and the place from which all of these other human disparities spring forth from. So once we begin to change the paradigm of value, then we will see all of these other things: racism, bias, discrimination, abuse of self and others, other disparities. We will begin to see them diminish, because you cannot have light and dark in the same place. You cannot have value presence and the absence of value at the same place at the same time. So once one is existing in abundance, the other has to diminish. And by the same token, once the other exists in abundance, the other has to diminish. So again, where we're at right now is a value imbalance. We have a lot of value absence. Therefore, we have a lack of value presence. Once we change that dynamic and we have an abundance of value presence, then we will begin to see less and less and less value absence. And that is the solution. That is the vaccine. That is what will transform people in their hearts and minds. Once they begin to understand their value and they begin to assign that value to themselves, and that value begins to pour out on each other, not only will it transform them, but that is a solution, that is a remedy that is humanly sustainable, because value is coded in who we are. It's not something that we have to work to maintain. Value is the lifeblood of the relationship. Ask yourself this question: do you want to be connected to, do you want to be in relationship with a person, a place, a thing, or a situation that does not pour value into your life? There's your answer. Value is the lifeblood of every relationship. If value is diminished, the relationship will suffer. If value is absent, the relationship will die. And the relationship is the ecosystem for all of life. Everything from plants to animals to us, who are the highest, we're at the top of the food chain, or we're at the top of the hierarchy of, we're the highest, most evolved, intelligent animal, human beings. But again, relationship is the ecosystem of life, and value is the blood, the lifeblood of relationships. So ask yourself, what happens to your body if there's no blood in it? It's simple. Value is the lifeblood. We have to begin to understand our inherent value, and we have to begin to exchange with each other in our human actions, in our human interactions, in our encounters with each other. We have to begin to pour that value out onto each other and onto ourselves in order for survival to happen.
So, in closing, can you let everybody know how they can get involved and what they can do at this point regarding your Global Equal Initiative concept?
Just come into the equal universe. Just come on in, everybody. TheEqualUniverse.com. Again, where you can be supported. We have 2 tiers. We have the equals, and we have the equalizers. There's no, financial obligation to being. It's just something that another component that we use to engage people. But for those of you who need to heal, who need to recover, and I think all of us do right now, especially given what we've gone through and are still going through, we all need to heal. But remember, the body heals together. If something is wrong with my leg, all of my body, my heart, my lungs, everything is working to support that injury and that trauma until it recovers. So again, together is the template. Together is the way to survive. Together is the way to succeed. Together is the way for us to win. So come in and let's build better together. Again, before we're anything, before we're male, female, before we're any sexual orientation, any ethnicity, we're human beings first. Let's start there. Okay, let's just be human together, and let's just be together. And then let's build from there. Understanding that the one thread that connects us all is that we, at our deepest core, desire to be viewed, valued, and treated as equal. That is what we can agree on. So let's figure out the rest from there.